This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening, everybody. No, well, it's morning, supposed to be. I think, I can't really tell. I got out of bed about 3 minutes ago and it still feels like the middle of the night. Welcome to the morning safari here at SafariLive. My name is James Henry and on camera today is... David. Yes, wonderful. And what we are doing here is going on a game drive, obviously, as we do from time to time. And we've begun with some Impala in infrared. We are now going to show you those very same Impala with the Vlieger thermal camera. And that should be very much prettier, you'll see. It looks like little goblets of gold, not goblets, globules of gold, lying on the clearings just outside camp. Please do talk to us using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Otherwise, you can use the chat stream on YouTube. If you are a new viewer, the reason we're driving about in the pitch darkness is that we should be hopefully soon taking off with a thermal drone. The drone has, a few technical difficulties. This is not an unusual state of affairs. In fact, it's entirely common. And the thermal drone will help us to find nocturnal predators. That is the idea, that we operate finding small or large nocturnal predators until the dawn light comes in about an hour and 15 minutes. So that is the story over here right now. You can see they're all having a little snooze, the Impala. Their ability to see in the darkness will be much greater than ours. And so being on the clearing here allows them the chance to see if they're about to be attacked by one of those small, medium or large nocturnal predators that could be knocking about the place. It is quite astounding how wily they are and how very good they are at avoiding being eaten. James, you are hoping to see a porcupino. I would like to see a porcupino as well. I have found much porcupino spine while I've been here at Djuma Private Game Reserve. I have yet to see an actual porcupino, though. We have seen where they have eaten away the roots of tambuti trees. We have seen their tracks. We have seen their quills, as I've said. But I have yet to see an actual porcupino. And I wonder if the quills that they have don't insulate them, or certainly insulate the heat signature from them. And perhaps that's why we don't see them so much, even with this Vlieger or with the thermal drone. You can see the trees have maintained some of the warmth from yesterday's fairly hot afternoon. They are pink. And how this picture works is that the hottest thing in the picture, as far as I'm aware, is always going to be that sort of whitish, yellowish colour. Is that correct, David? It doesn't matter what colour, at least what temperature it is, the hottest part of the screen will be that colour. Is that correct? Indeed. And then the coldest will be black. Eagles something or other, you're interested, and I haven't noticed this until now, until you pointed it out, of course, that the horns are also hot. Yes, it is interesting that. Of course, eagles sprout, of course. I mean, what else? The reason that we've got heat in the horns is that they are vascularized and they have a nervous system, of course, and so that's bone. I wonder if you would get the same kind of heat signature off a deer's antlers, and I suspect you probably wouldn't. But you might, I don't know. But that's a really good observation. One would have expected them to be cold. Hello, Matterwicks. An interesting question from you. You say you've just joined us, which is wonderful. Thank you for joining us. You want to know why these deer have been painted orange. Well, there are a few problems with that question, Matterwicks. The first is, of course, that these are not deer. These are antelope. They are Impala, Epsirus melampus, most common antelope here in the Western Kruger National Park of South Africa, where we find ourselves today. I should have told you that earlier. They're not, in fact, painted orange. They are just being viewed with a thermal camera. And so what you're seeing is a heat signature, or a mammalian heat signature. They happen to be the hottest things in this picture. And that's why they are that colour. We've also got them in infrared, which puts them in rather less colour, in black and white. But there is no artificial light on these animals, so we haven't put any white light on them. I mean, we've put artificial infrared light on them, but they don't know that. It's all very secret. Not so, David. Yes, it's all a big secret. I think our plan from here is going to be to go driving down towards Twin Dams Road, which is the central road of Djuma Private Game Reserve, where we find ourselves, and see if we can find the Nkuhuma Pride, which was last seen heading that direction yesterday evening. In the meantime, let us go across to Tristan Dix, who is driving around without the benefit of a FLIR thermal camera. I think he's got infrared, though.
Hopefully you'll have some semblance of success as you endeavour to find the Nkuhumas. We are on the opposite side of where James is, so we're driving around on the western side of Djuma and trying to see what we can find this side in case maybe the Nkuhumas came down this way. Now, as James mentioned, my name is Tristan, and unlike James, I don't have a fancy camera to make everything brightly coloured and orange, and so you're going to deal with us in monochrome this morning. I've also got BK on camera, and like I say, we're going to try to see what we can find. We're going to check more the western side, so we'll check around sort of Treehouse, Rebecca's Road, Ingwe Alley, Pangolin Track, so all of those kind of areas, in the hope, not only if we could maybe pick up tracks with the Nkuhumas, but also if there's any sign of Hosanna and where he's been over the last few days. It is his birthday tomorrow, after all. I think it's tomorrow. And so he's due an appearance, so we'll try and see if we can find him. So that's the plan. Hopefully we will have some success. It is still obviously very dark at the moment, which means that, well, I don't know, it's going to be tricky. We have a light only, and so until the drone can get up and running, it's going to be a tough sort of morning to spot things. But, you know, at least at this time of the day is a good time often to find things moving about. You don't hear too many alarm calls at this time. Fam, you'd quite like to see an aardvark. Well, all of us would love to see an aardvark. Now, I saw something here. Give me 2 seconds. Hold on. I think an aardvark would be a lovely thing, but there was something that ran here, and I want to just quickly investigate. It might have been a duiker, but it also could have been a genet type thing. Let's just have a little look. I lost where it went, though. It went into this long grass, and I've missed it. I think it might have been a genet, because it came off this log area. Where did you go? Well, I don't see anything. There was definitely eyes that came bounding around this area. So this is a problem a little bit when you don't have the drone up. The drone picks these things up quite quickly and quite easily, whereas the spotlights, you've only got the field of view of where the light shines, and so it's tricky to actually see beyond that. What's that there? No, that's not it. I'm not sure. Must have been something like a little genet then, because I don't find any sort of antelope. And at this time of the day, funny enough, duiker are not ones that run, even though during the sort of bright parts of the day when the sun is up, you'll find that they run quickly and try and kind of get away from you. But at night, funny enough, they are a lot more kind of settled and don't move nearly as much, and the reason for that is because they don't want to run off into the darkness and run straight into a predator, and so they often sit still, and so actually finding them at night is not that bad. But I think I've spotted something else that is nocturnal, which you'll all be very happy to see. Just give me 2 seconds to get there. And to also get BK into a place where he can see it. BK, can you see what I see? It's not an aardvark, I'm afraid, Kirsty. I'd be quite impressed if anybody actually spots what I'm seeing. And I've got to try and get a gap for the camera tonight. In that spotlight there is a chameleon. BK. So, really, there we go. Just inside over there in the middle of the spotlight. I'm just going to try and see if I can just guide BK to where it is. BK, I'm going to turn off my spotlight so you can actually see a bit better. Maybe turn on your IR will be probably a little bit easier for you. But essentially there's this chameleon that's hidden somewhere in here that's going to be very tricky for you guys to see. But if you have a little look, there we go. Now I'll just zoom in straight for me into the middle of the screen, and I'll try and show you where it is. The angle of the camera might be an issue here. Now Kirsty's giving me trouble because she's saying it's a 10 out of 10 chameleon sighting. Kirsty, don't be nasty. I'm trying to find said chameleon. BK, can you go to the right a little bit? I'm just trying to see if I can show you guys exactly where it is. Okay, too far. So it's in that little gap there somewhere. Let me try and just move a little bit for you, BK. Hold on. I've got to try and work this out, which is going to be the best area for the camera. But essentially, it's in the back side of the bush there. A little bit, BK. Maybe you'll... There, it's underneath there. So BK can see it now, which is going to help him a little bit. Highlight again. Once more. It's kind of in underneath in there somewhere. Where are you, chameleon? There it is, top of the frame. So there, straight in there. There you can see its tail curled. So behind that branch is the chameleon. Now Kirsty's giving me trouble saying that I'm making it up, but no, there it is. You can see it's quite a large chameleon. It's difficult for you guys to get any sort of size reference, but a terminalia leaf, which is what it's sitting in, a terminalia leaf will probably be longer than my middle finger. And so if you use one of those leaves as a sort of basis, that's probably 2 of those leaves, so about the size of my hand if you include the tail curled up and the kind of head area. And so these guys are out and about at this time. I mean, they move quite a bit and try and kind of get to the edge of the trees where they'll feed off various insects that are moving about. And then as the sun starts to come up, so these chameleons start to pull themselves deeper into a bush where they'll then camouflage for the day. And the reason why they need to camouflage for the day is because, well, you can see there that camouflage is pretty ridiculous. But the reason why they have this is obviously to try and kind of stay away from predators. They have a lot of predators in daylight hours, from certain species of snakes, like boomslang and snakes, to bird species. Grey-headed bush shrikes are a problem for them, and various others. And so and then obviously there's a few kind of mammals too that would go after them. So they've got to try and stay hidden. That means on the which are those little skin cells within this chameleon that allow it to determine and change color, and it will go various shades of greens, browns, black if it's very upset and trying to defend itself, but generally kind of greens and browns is what they go for. They can't turn themselves into a ludicrous pink or blue or anything like that. It's mostly just neutral tones that allows them to really blend in incredibly well with their environment, as you can see by that. It wasn't what we were looking for, but a nice find anyway. In the meantime, though, I'm going to send you all the way back up to the Masai Mara and Isaac so that he can say good morning.
Well, a very good morning, everyone, and welcome to the beautiful Masai Mara. It is still quite dark here. Welcome. My name is Isaac, and behind me is Bugay, my cameraman. Our aim today, we're going towards Tanzanian border, see what we can find for you. I'm joined by my colleagues in Southern Africa, James and many more. And it is still quite dark. I hope you're going to have a wonderful morning. I don't know what time it is back where you are, but over here it's almost 5:20, still very early in the morning. So I would say good morning and welcome again. On my way here, there hasn't been very much on the road. There's something here, I don't know what it is. I can see some head. Oh, you see it, Bungay? Our first little bird of the day. It's right here. We're gonna switch off all the lights so Bungay can zoom in with the infrared camera and see what it is. I don't know what it is. Looks like a nightjar. It is rather hard to say what it is, but here we do get freckled in this area, freckled Niger. Okay, bye-bye. Yeah, and very impressed with us being here that early. There has been much on my here, apart from a few ostriches that were very fast. I couldn't even see them. While I look for something for you, I'll take you down to Juma, to James.
Hello, everybody. We're back here with something very, very creepy. There it is. It is a spider that looks like a skull, according to Kirsten in the final control. It is very early in the morning, so maybe she's just not seeing straight. I do see what she means, though, sort of. So this is a bark spider. This is Mrs. Bark Spider. We do tell you the bark spider story fairly frequently, but what's interesting here is that obviously she built this web as it got dark last night. So she leaves the support strand between the two guarri bushes at the top, and then every morning when the light comes, she'll eat that web, she'll roll it up, eat it, and then go and sit on one of the trees either side. And then when night comes, she comes and she weaves. She doesn't weave, she spins her web again. And they're very neat. And this particular web looks like it's been set upon by a profound number of insects. And I think that she has had a very good evening. Her web has caught her a lot of stuff, most of which she has eaten. And so I think a very good night all in, or all told, for this bark spider. In fact, I think she might be eating something right now. So when it is completed and constructed, it's extremely neat. It is unlike a golden orb web spider's web, which tends to be there. She's wrapping up something that she's eating now. It's unlike a golden orb web spider, which tends to be very messy from the beginning. This is a pristine, perfect orb web. And so you can see she's caught a lot. Many of you wanting to see it in Flier. I don't think you're going to, A, because it's a bit far away, and B, because it's an ectothermic animal, but we can try. David, are we...
I mean, yeah, nothing showing up, but we can show it.
We'll try. And Flier it for you, everybody. It is ectothermic, though, which means that it's not going to have a heat signature, I don't think. Is that it? Is that the is that the picture we have?
It's not showing that we're on the Flier yet. It is, that's all we see.
That's all we can see. That's all we can see, everybody. You are looking at the spider through the Flier camera. But the spider, I'm afraid, is entirely ectothermic. And as Kirsten says, it's a bit disappointing. It is. It is a bit disappointing, David. We're still in infrared. Let's have one last look at this spider. There we go. And her male friend, her man, if you like, will be on one of the trees either side of the support strand, waiting for his hard-working wife to come home. That is quite something. Look at that. You can see her pedipalps there, just wiping her mouth clean of insect innards, making sure that she looks respectable when she arrives home, so that her husband, who's about a tenth her size, might be pleased with her arrival. And if he isn't pleased with her arrival, she'll probably just eat him, find another one. Apparently a number of you saying ew, which is either a reference to me or to the spider. We're hoping that it is to the spider, but it might be to me. David, does this look like a face you'd say ew at?
No.
No. Good. We're going to continue down the road now. Here we go. Goodbye, Mrs. Spider. Now, you'd probably find her there every day if you came at around about dark or at nightfall or in the morning. And until her support line is broken for whatever reason, by a giraffe or an elephant, perhaps, she'll stay there. I think it's about 22 degrees on pole this morning, which is around about 72 Fahrenheit, plus minus. So it's quite a decent temperature. A little bit of jacket on. We have Corley at the back, who does not have a jacket on. Do you, Corley? He's not speaking to me at the moment. I've obviously offended him in some way. I'm told that the drone is up now. I can't see it anywhere, but hopefully it will be finding something soon. Tom, that's a very interesting question, which I'm not sure I can give you necessarily the correct answer to. Why we don't see jackals? The short answer is we do, but you are correct, and we don't see them a lot. They're not endangered. They just are not common in this particular area. Now, when I started working in the bush, it was about 50 kilometers away at Ngala Private Game Reserve, which is just sort of the same latitude as we are now, just slightly north of here. Every single clearing that there was had a pair of black-backed jackals living in it. And then when I came to work at the Sabi Sands, I worked at Londolozi for a while. We didn't see any black-backed jackals at all. We sometimes saw the odd side-striped jackal. And that's a situation that is the same here at Djuma. Now, there are various reasons put forward for this. Certainly at Londolozi, everybody thought, well, we don't have jackals because they make clearings there. You know, they do quite a lot of clearing of some of the over-thickened areas. And that was one of the theories. But we don't get a lot of jackals here at Djuma, and they don't do any clearing here other than on quarantine clearings. And interestingly, if you're going to see a jackal, it's most likely to be on quarantine clearing. So it's not that. Other thoughts are that there are just simply too many leopards in this area, and leopards do eat jackals. They, in fact, control their numbers quite effectively. So that's possible. I really don't know why we don't see a greater number of jackals here. We also seem to be right at the cusp, if you like, of the changeover between the two species. There seems to be an area where the two species, because they don't normally occur too much in the same area. You do find them in the same area, but normally one will dominate the other, and that doesn't seem to be the case here. A black-backed jackal at a carcass or at a meeting will dominate a side-striped jackal, but we here from time to time, but neither fairly frequently. So that is, I'm sure, a deeply unsatisfying answer for which yeah, I can't really tell you more than that. I'm not sure why we don't find them further. David, why are you handing me a pair of binoculars? Oh, there's a moth. David's found us a moth, everybody. Thank you, David. Oh, apparently our signal is not good here. There we go. It's a beautiful moth. I'm not sure what kind of moth it is. It's got pretty sort of black and yellow, no, black and white and orange bits. That's black and white and orange, those bits there. You can't see that, of course, you're in black and white. Yeah, let's try and go colour. Kirsten, we're going colour. Are we in colour, David? Oh, shall I put some more light on it? There we go. There we are. Now we can see a little bit of light. Of course, by turning on the light, what we've done is to encourage every insect within a 30-mile radius to come hurtling towards us, into our eyes, mouths, noses, ears. Thankfully, the stink bugs seem to have abated slightly since last night. There were many, many stink bug yesterday evening in my room. I found it very distasteful. Trishala ate her first stink bug yesterday. It's always nice. Always a nice experience. All right, thank you for that, David. Whaley, are these yours?
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to black and white. 1, 2, 3. There we are. All right, let's go back to Tristan, see what he has. I think he has a spotlight and a lot of darkness.
Indeed, I have a spotlight, James. That is pretty much all we've got at this stage. We've, excuse me, driven around kind of Zoe's and then onto Philemon's. For two reasons, like I was saying earlier. One, because we were sort of looking for any sign of the Nkuhumas kind of moving that side. Now, I wonder if this little guy is going to stay. There's a bush baby straight in front of us. I'm just trying to use my spotlight to guide BK where it is. So where my spotlight is, BK is straight in front. It's a little lesser bush baby that is sitting in the tree there. You can just see its eyes glinting every now and then as it kind of moves around. It's probably a little bit of out of range of the infrared. It's why I'm keeping my spotlight out. But there it is on an open branch to... Oh, it's jumped now. Let's try to get a little closer. Hold on, BK. I'm going to try to get closer towards where it went. These guys are out a lot at this time. I was actually just said to BK and Trishala that I'm very surprised we haven't seen a bush baby yet, because this is an area that they love to spend time. And no sooner have the words come out that we've managed to find one. But I was saying that we were trying to basically see if we can find... oh, there it is there. I don't know if it's going to stay, but it's... Oh, it's jumping too fast. Okay, it's jumped from that tree. Now I'm going to work out which tree it's going to next, because they move so quickly, these guys. Is it still in the tree there, BK? You just see leaves moving all over the place at the moment. So I'm just trying to figure out where it's gone. Right here. Oh, there it is. Okay. Well done, guys. So it's just in the base of this little wattle over there. Let's try to see if BK can find it with the infrared. Once they get into a wattle like this, though, it's quite tricky because there's obviously a lot of... it's at the back now. Hold on, BK. You can see the branch moving at the back here. So it's probably going to jump. Kirsty, you're giving me a hard time today. There it is. So it's sitting, moving up onto the knobthorn thickets. So Kirsty's giving me a hard time. This is once again a 10 out of 10 bush baby sighting. And I am well aware of that, because they are quite fast, agile little creatures. So they move pretty quickly and can test anybody, and it's unfortunately just jumping too much into these thickets. So we're just going to leave it at that. But what I was saying is that not only were we looking in case the Nkuhumas came to the west, but also I went and drove the last time I saw an aardvark was on Philemon's cut line. So since we got asked for aardvark, we went and had a little look to see if I could find any sign of that one. And there's a lot of aardvark burrows just off Philemon's cut line between Zoe's and Shabamu Road. But alas, we didn't find any sign of an aardvark this morning, I'm afraid. Now, a lot of you might be asking, well, when was the last time you saw an aardvark on Philemon's cut line? A while ago is the answer to that. It was a few months since we've seen one, and it wasn't even on live drive. Anyway, good. It sounds like we have now got some aerial support, and so Jamie and Seb are up and running, so let's go across to them so that they can tell us what their plan is for the morning and hopefully find us some interesting critters.
Tristan, you do have aerial support, and a very good morning to all of you, and welcome to the view of Djuma from the air as we jump and stutter our way forward. What is that, Seb? That is the warm dot of an antelope. Yeah. Most definitely. So at the moment, we are looking down, similar to the way that the FLIR works, and we're looking down at the thermal images of Djuma right here and right now at roughly 4:30 in the morning, and we are searching slowly for hotspots. What is that on the termite mound? So we're following along Zoe's road. Oh, goodness gracious, and we are struggling a little bit with signal. We've come a little bit too far, but there is something on there that might be nothing, and it might be something, and oh dear. Are you surviving there, Seb? There is something down there. So for those of you that don't know, Seb is currently the drone pilot. He is currently standing on the bonnet. So you get an absolutely astounding view of his legs if you were to have a look at them. That was an antelope. Cool. I think what we're going to do, Seb, is we're going to go a little bit further to the left. Kirst says your legs are looking nice, Seb.
Thanks, Kirsty.
He says thank you. I think go a little bit left, Seb. The signal's a bit to his road. So here we go, slowly scanning through. What is that? There is a warmish spot there that could be a termite mound, could be a log, could be absolutely anything. Nope, it was a termite mound, do you think? Yeah. I think let's go a little bit to the left. Lots of compliments for your legs there, Seb.
Thank you, everyone.
Seb says thank you very much, everyone. He really appreciates it. He's been working hard on them.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. Every day. I know this to be true. So basically what we're doing is we're trying to keep to the more open areas if we can. Because as Dory has pointed out, it looks a little bit like lava as we're driving along. What is moving there? Is that my imagination? No. 2 things moving. 3 things moving. Moving very much all over the show like an antelope might. That's an antelope. Impala? Definitely. And slowly we're scanning back towards quarantine. In theory, that's our theory. The next plan is to go to Philemon's cut line and scan where it's open. We're searching for all sorts of things, and obviously the more open it is, the more likely we are to spot something. And this is after a relatively cold evening. You can imagine what it looks like after a hot, hot, hot day. What are you? There is something there. There's 2 somethings there. The one on the left looks like a scrub hare. The one on the right also looks like a scrub hare. But let's just check. There's an old 2-track there. If I take it back, I don't know scrub hare. Seb is just descending down. So that we can get an idea as to what those things are. Scrub hares.
I think so.
I'm pretty certain those are scrub hares. Yep, scrub hare. Scrub hare, absolutely. The one on the right's not a leopard stalking a scrub hare either. Too small. This would be a very small leopard stalking a scrub hare. I mean, it says definitely not. All right, so while we go and check out what those hot spots are, and further up ahead, we're going to send you across to James, who is, oh, there's an elephant, who is driving about in the dark, hoping to find something as well.
On to Leadwood Road, named after this leadwood tree. Can you see it, David? Very good. In which many barbets, starlings, and probably squirrels are very wisely still asleep. And we are looking for pretty much anything, but I do harbour a vague hope of perhaps bumping into one of our leopard characters. The lions, I'm pretty sure, crossed south. Obviously very difficult to see the tracks at this time of the day, but I'm also pretty sure that they would have crossed to the south. They were heading that way yesterday evening. Oh, that's interesting. Morning Glory, you said you could hear lions from the dam cam. That would be wonderful. We'll probably maybe head up that way. Should we see if we can get that bunny? David, can you see the bunny? Of course, 46 bunnies have nearly got run over during the course of this morning. Try and put one on camera, though. You got him. You have. You had him with the flier to the right. There, you've got him with the flier. Very nice. Hot ears. There we are. Good morning, scrub hair. There are a lot of scrub hares around. You see them from the drone, amazingly. Little dots jumping all over the place, and those are normally scrub hares. What else have we got there, David? Some sand, a bit of grass, some sticks, and that's all. And my face.
Oh, no. Too close.
Too close?
I only get the bonnet.
Oh, okay. Right, let's carry on. I think I was stinged just below my eye yesterday evening by one of the insecta. I hope you all feel very sorry for me. The first robin has just woken up. I can hear it going, unless it's just coming home from the club. Do you think it was a club robin, David? Just having a last song. Final drink. Final packet of inedible chips at any other time of the day before it puts its head down. It's going to wake up with a headache tomorrow. Child of the universe, you want to know if I know any ghost stories to tell you because we're driving around in the dark. I actually don't know any ghost stories at all that I can remember. I don't think I know any ghost stories. Do you know any ghost stories, David? No, I don't know any ghost stories, I'm afraid. Kirsten says, can I make one up? All right. Once upon a time, there was a ghost called Xoli. Xoli the ghost was a very unfortunate fellow. He died in the summer of 1858. Well, that was, the ghost didn't die. He became a ghost in the summer of 1858. The victim of an accident involving a falling coconut. The only coconut tree in Siabuswa village, which dropped its first and only fruiting coconut on Xoli's head in the year 1858, January the 22nd to be precise. Xoli the ghost then haunted the village of Siabuswa thenceforth, but being of a mild nature, Xoli the ghost was unable to scare the bejesus out of people like he was supposed to. And so he became known as the benevolent ghost of Siabuswa. That was all until the winter of 1922, when an event occurred that made Xoli, the mild-mannered and benevolent ghost, become much less mild-mannered and benevolent, and he became a haunting and terrifying creature. And the event that took place was the... it was the chopping down of the coconut tree that dropped the first coconut on his head. Now, he loved that coconut tree. That's where he lived. That's where Xoli the benevolent ghost lived. But unfortunately, one day, a fellow called Ngobogazi chopped down the coconut tree in order to build his house. And Xoli did not appreciate this, and so he haunted Ngobogazi. And Ngobogazi lived in a small... Oh, there's a leveret. I shall get on with the story shortly. Can you see the leveret? It's gone and hidden, hasn't it? It's just behind that bush there. It's a baby rabbit. A baby rabbit. Anyway, so what happened was that Xoli then went and haunted the home of Ngobogazi. And while Ngobogazi was sleeping, Xoli would throw his cups onto the floor and make sounds like this. He'd go, ooh, ooh, and Ngobogazi would wake with a start going, oh, who's there, who's there? And then Xoli would be silent, of course. And then as he'd bang the window open and close it again and make ooh, ooh sounds until Ngobogazi was so afraid and terrified that he left the village of Siyabuswa. And it actually turned out rather well, because Xoli, the benevolent ghost, had, unbeknownst to him, done the entire village rather a favour, because in fact Ngobogazi was a gun smuggler, which nobody knew at the time. But after he vacated his house, they found a huge cache of small and large weapons, including spears, vintage Mauser rifles, at least vintage muskets, and all sorts of other illegal contraband. And so, in the end, it turned out that Xoli was a benevolent ghost, and he still lives in Siyabuswa to this day, and it is now his main function to stop gun running. Did you enjoy that story, David? Xoli, did you enjoy it? This is a very cute little rabbit. A leveret, of course, is a baby rabbit, or a baby scrub hare, as the case may be. This one is about to climb onto my lap. Fluffy, you say the story is too detailed to be made up. Well, of course, it's not made up in the slightest. I mean, it's dinkum. And Xoli is named after the ghost of Siyabuswa. Aren't you, Xoli? Yeah. You'll find that, in fact, all male children in Siyabuswa village are called Xoli because of the ghost. The other thing about this ghost is that if all male children are not named Xoli after him, he haunts their houses. And so all males in Siyabuswa village are known as Xoli, from 1 to 6,000. Xoli 1 to Xoli 6,000. And when one dies, obviously, then the number goes back. So, for example, this is Xoli 4,324, I think you are. So if Xoli was to shuffle off this mortal coil, Xoli 4,300, what did I say? 64 becomes open. Ingrid, you say I just enjoy clicking. Well, yes, it is. I really quite enjoy clicking. Xoli, Ngobogazi. Anyway, that's the story of Siyabuswa village, where Xoli is from. And how he came to be known as Xoli 4,362. Yes. We've got a bit of a moon up ahead, which is quite nice, I suppose. But, should we look at the moon, David? Is it worth looking at? Oh, we're going to go rather across to Tristan after we have looked at the moon. There it is. Look at that. Astounding stuff. A smiley face moon, above which is a planet. I'm pretty sure it is Venus. Well done, David. All right, well, let's go across to Tristan and find out how his driving is going.
Let's, well, how does one follow up a ghost time storytelling session with the one and only, the biggest celebrity there is, James Hendry, there isn't really a way to do so. You have to just kind of suck it up as the fact that you are deemed inferior to what James is. And I'm joking. We're actually just talking about ghost stories. Yeah, exactly. Just drive in silence and pretend like I don't even exist. Maybe I am a ghost. Who knows? But we're discussing ghost stories now with Trishala and myself and BK, and I was asking Trishala if she knows any, and then she said to me, no, doesn't really know any other than the one that Rex told her about horses and people and noises and stuff, but she didn't really have the gist of it. But she did say she saw a UFO once, and she said that there were others to corroborate her story. Now, Trishala, I'm going to have this conversation with you because we're going to dissect your UFO story. Where did you see it?
I was on my balcony in Durban.
On your balcony in Durban, and what happened? Tell me what happened.
I had a telescope.
You had a telescope, right? So there was a telescope?
On the balcony.
Yes.
And as we
Oh,
were
hello,
looking at
Dika.
things, there was a really, really bright square. Bright light, almost like a spotlight kind of bright light.
Okay.
But pointing upwards.
So apparently there was a bright square. One can basically think of an LED light bulb, but a very big one, like a spotlight, and it was pointing straight upwards from the seaside, or where from?
Yeah, I would say from the sea.
From the seaside, apparently. Okay. And what did it do?
Shot straight up into the air and disappeared.
And then it shot straight up into the air and disappeared. This sounds more and more like you saw like a photon laser or something silly like that. That kind of...
No, but there was no light beneath it.
There was no light beneath it, but only above it. Well,
As it started to move up, you could only see the light above it, not below it.
okay, so as it went upwards, there was only light above it and not below it.
And it went really fast.
And it went really fast. Interesting. You see, these things are they're unexplained things, and so Trishala's seen one, and I was actually saying to Trishala that my grandfather once said he saw something along those lines. Now, seems like Trishala's also spotted something, so before we kind of get anywhere... What have you seen, Trishala? Oh, there. Well done. Very good spot. So Trishala has spotted us what looks like one of the toads. I'm going to just check now. But here on the tree there, BK, you'll see it's on the sort of fork of the tree. We'll get into UFO stories just now, but just go straight into the bottom left now. Bottom left, other way, left. There we go. Straight on the tree. There we go. Right, now, in terms of coloration, I can't see anything because it's so pitch black, but it almost looks as though it's got dermal dots on it. So, I mean, it could be a foam nest tree frog. It's tricky to kind of see in a monotone color, and like I say, I can't see anything. It's pitch black at the moment. I'm going to try and see if I can just get a bit of side light so I can try and get some color. No, that's not working because the shadow of the other tree is directly on it. But markings wise, I mean, foam nest tree frogs will have markings like this, but I'm just trying to see if it's got the dermal bumps. If dermal bumps are present, then generally toad species, of which we get red toad, eastern olive toads, raucous toads, so there's a few different ones, and there'll be a number of them that will use trees to hide away. Generally the toads don't, though. They're normally kind of ground based, and so I would go with foam nest tree frog just given its kind of position. There's also a very, very kind of fresh foam nest that is hanging over a pan that is just behind this tree at the moment. So I would suspect that is what it is. So well spotted, Trishala. Very good indeed. Right, now we'll get into UFO stories, and especially since there is a light coming over the top of me and a sound of a drone a little bit later. But for now, we're going to do some real safari things and send you to James with some bright pink elephants.
Well, have a guess. Not a rabbit, no, but an elephant bull. And what he's been doing is shaking the tree next to him so that the marula fruits come out. Now, so far, we've had a very poor marula season, I think. I haven't eaten one marula fruit this year because most of them just haven't been ripe. But I imagine in the next few weeks that will improve. Well, I hope it will. Wonderful to see. And I think we're on the vlieg shot. Are we on the vlieg?
Mm-hmm.
The elephant's tusk, obviously, a totally different colour from the impala's horns. Very cold, and so not nearly the same. Oh, I guess it's like the end of your teeth, really. There is absolutely a nerve in there, but it's very deep inside. And so there's no blood or nervous tissue in the outer part of the tusk, and that's why it's cold. And all of you enjoying the sighting that David is producing you of the golden elephant of Djuma. Molten golden elephant. Still not much in the way of a dawn chorus. That's because it's not dawn yet. You can just see a little bit of streaming from the temporal gland there. But I don't think this is a must bull. I think he's just... I don't know what he is really. I think he looks very relaxed and enjoying his marula fruit breakfast. Completely relaxed. Of course, they don't really eat breakfast, elephants. They have to eat all the time. That's quite funny, really. Oh, hi, Bacon. You say this elephant has a Bluetooth tusk. Yes, it does. I think that's quite clever. It does have a Bluetooth tusk. He's only got one tusk, though. His other tusk is gone. I'm also constantly amazed. We've been looking at a few birds as we drive along here at how much better feathers are at insulation than fur. Now, obviously, an elephant doesn't have any fur. It's got a little bit of hair, but no fur. And it is very clearly giving off a lot of heat, this elephant. The energy balance when you're this big does mean that you need to try and minimize the amount of fur that you have in an environment like this. You can also see those little cold patches. And Pat Fitzgerald's big kind of, I suppose, interest in elephants at the moment is that he read a paper on the fact that they've got cold spots that help them to radiate heat, or hot spots, and therefore you should be able to see that. But you can't really. There is a cooler bit on the back there, but I'm not sure that we could say definitively that there were places that were radiating more heat than others, other than the ears, which are definitely slightly warmer. What did she say there?
Will tick show up.
The whaty?
On the flare, will tick show up on the Christine.
Will tick show up
On the flare.
on the fleur from Christine?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, ticks. Will ticks show up? Right, I got it, Christine. Thank you. No, ticks will not show up. Ticks are ectothermic, which means that they will not be giving off heat. That said, I suppose if they had just managed to fill themselves with blood, then maybe they would show up a bit of heat. But I think the blood probably cools down almost immediately on touching the tick. I suspect a mosquito, if you got close enough to it, would show up, because they obviously suck blood quite quickly, and I think maybe they would remain warm while the blood cooled down in their bodies. But ticks are fairly thick-skinned, and they don't suck blood at the same speed that a mosquito can. Very good. Poor lonely bull spent his whole night out here on his own. No friends. That's how they like to do it. Alrighty, let us go up to the skies where Jamie Patterson is looking for any nocturnal predator, large to small.
Again. Up to the sky, looking down on the red-hot baked earth. It's not even that hot, actually. As I said, it really looks very, very different at night as opposed to first thing in the morning. Imagine if you could see a ghost on the flare, Seb. Oh, not flare, thermal drone, whatever its name is. Thelma, not allowed to call it Thelma. Imagine, picked up on something spectral and ghostly, or if we could see something and then vector somebody in, tell Tristan to come, and he's sitting there saying, but there's nothing here, there's nothing here. And we're saying, but it's coming towards you. A Drone Ghost Story by Jamie Patterson. Be like the old Goosebumps books, with a cliffhanger at every end of every chapter. We now approach Twin Dams in the vague hope that I'm going to spot a hyena from here. Much further than this, and we start to struggle with signal. There we go. So there's the boundary. Should we just do a quick scan around here, Seb? Maybe we get lucky and we see something. There's the cool of the Mulwati. And a termite mound. Michelle would like to know how come they're seeing all the buttons. Well, Michelle, this morning when we started up, after testing everything to make sure that it worked, we discovered that nothing worked. And so as a result, we actually had to do some troubleshooting and try and see if we could figure out a problem. And by we, I don't mean me. I was in no way involved. In fact, I shouldn't be allowed near a cable or a wire upon pain of death. But Marcel actually stepped in and did some troubleshooting, and the only way that we could be out at all was for you to be able to see all the buttons and things, as you put it. What do you suppose those things are, Seb? It's 2 scrub hairs again. We're really good at spotting scrub hairs. We're absolutely amazing at it. No, they're definitely scrub hairs. You can see the upright posture in the ears. No hyenas. I mean, I obviously had an agenda from the get-go. I just had to make sure that I checked everywhere else first. No. Nostridge wants to know what the smallest animal is that we're likely to spot with the drone. It really depends upon the temperature of the ground and whether or not it is hot or cold, and at the same time how low we're flying and how clear the image is and how slowly we're flying. I reckon on a good day on quarantine, on a winter's day when there's no grass cover, I reckon you could spot a gerbil if you were really, really committed and flying super low. But that would be incredibly difficult, and doing what we're doing now, we would never spot a bushveld gerbil, but we could spot a scrub hare and we could spot a white-tailed mongoose. We definitely can spot antelope, and elephants are easy peasy. What are you? Another antelope. Antelope. Something walking in the middle. There is a walking thing. There is a walking thing. What is that walking thing? That's... Oh. Yes, that's also an antelope. With an extended neck. What is that? Is that also an antelope? That's also an antelope. It's definitely not a gerbil. I got so excited there for a second because we're basically over Mumba Road. And I thought perhaps just this once we had been lucky. But I fear we are not. That's perfect there, Seb, if you want to keep going that way.
In that direction?
Yeah, let's go towards Elephant Carcass. Maybe a bit further left. A little bit further left. There we go. Marvelous. Let's go see if Tingana's walking his route. And, of course, look for small and unidentified objects. Okay, we are now on... What's that? No? What is walking there? Just down to the left, Seb. There. On the road. All right. While we look at our unidentified walking object, or UWO. Let's find out if Tristan has any more scary tales to tell.
Well, Jamie, it sounds like you're not looking at unidentified walking objects, that you've gotten very good at identifying everything that you're seeing. So that's making things, I suppose, good. It's good in a way. Hopefully we'll get something interesting on the drone at some point. And we were discussing UFOs and things like that. And I was saying, actually, my grandfather once said he saw something that he didn't know what it was. He used to actually be a pilot in the Air Force. Oh, hello, lions. What are you doing here? I almost just drove into them. So busy talking about UFOs, I wasn't really paying attention. Hello, you guys. What's up? Now, they're all kind of lying along the road. I thought they might come this way. They are full. What have you all eaten last night? They've killed something. Is there a carcass here anywhere? Doesn't look like it. It looks as though everybody is just full from a meal that they must have had at some point. So we kind of stumbled upon them, and I can hear both Kirsty and Jamie speaking in my ear. So Jamie's telling me that she was so close that the drone was going to come in this direction shortly, and Kirsty's telling me, yes, the drone worked hard to find us the lions this morning. But anyway, it's the way it goes. Sometimes you bump into things before the drone can get to where it is, and the drone hasn't really operated on this side, and so that's why it hasn't reached them. But I wonder what these guys ate. They've moved very little from where Lauren and Seb had them during the rehearsal last night. They are quite close to that area, and so they must have killed something fairly close to here. Whatever it was, it looks as though it was a decent meal, given the way everybody's kind of breathing heavily with mouths open and tummies swollen. To feed 10 lions must have been a good meal, or something at least along the lines of maybe a kudu, if not bigger. I wonder if maybe they didn't get themselves a large kudu bull or something like that they've devoured down in the area that we're in. This would be a good spot for something like a kudu. You'd also get nyala and maybe even buffalo, but a buffalo carcass they theoretically should still be sitting on if they grabbed a buffalo. But anyway, still nice to see that everybody's got full bellies again. Yesterday when we saw them on foot, their bellies definitely were not full at all. And so I'm glad that they've managed to get a really nice meal out of it. Now these guys, I'm pretty sure, are going to sit like this and maybe will move all of 10 centimeters during the course of today. When they're full like this, that is exactly what happens, is that they roll over, and you basically see that takes place. And like I say, you can see the sort of roundness of this lioness closest to us, how sort of big that tummy actually is, and give you an idea of just how fat and full these really guys, or how they are. So now it sounds like James is very excited about something, so I'm going to turn Jamie and James down because they're chatting quite a bit. So we're going to try and kind of just change channel, because otherwise all I'm going to hear is the two of them talking about drone stuff, which is going to make it difficult to concentrate at the best of times. But like I say, I mean, they're not going to do too much now. I'm intrigued, though, as to what they managed to get, because this many lions to be full like this is, like I say, a very decent meal, but they're not on it still, which is something that wasn't big enough to kind of keep them there for long, unless the carcass is somewhere close by here, but I doubt it, the way that they're all lying on the road. It tends to suggest that they've had a bit of a drink, and now they're all just kind of having a bit of a nap now and resting and taking it easy. There's one of the boys that is lying down over there. I can't see how many we've got. I can see a lot of lions up further in the head on the road. I just can't see how many there actually are. So beyond that lot, there are more lions. Anyway, it sounds like Jamie has had some success as well, and she has found something of interest on the drone.
We have definitely found something on the drone, and this time it's not a scrub hare. It is certainly a cat, and you can actually see us from the perspective of the drone. That's us behind him. I don't think you can see me waving. You could sort of see me waving. Look, there you go. That's me over there. I'm going to get hold of James Hendry very quickly, and we are going to bring him in. James, do you copy?
Standing by.
James, at the junction of Philemon's Dip and Quarantine, we have got an unidentified cat. Looks quite large. I think it might be a lion. Could of course be Hosanna.
Copy on our way. We're on Central. Probably about 5 out.
Okay, copy. At the moment, it looks as though it's mobile down Warburg's Road, east down Warburg's Road.
Okay, copy that. I'm about 4.5 out now.
Okay, copy. Just walked past a herd of very upset impala a moment ago. They have now relaxed again. It's fairly on the move.
Copy that. Confirm mobile in a easterly direction.
That is affirmative. Mobile east on Warburgs towards Twin Dams. I think it's a little bit too big to be Hosanna. It's starting to look a lot like a lion. So close to us, I should have double checked.
Copy.
There it goes, Seb. What do you think it is, Seb? Lioness. I think maybe she got separated. We've had lions the last few days. Maybe that's where she came from. Maybe she was hunting. Seb, as our drone pilot, would know. Seb, can you see a lion's mane on a drone? On a thermal drone. Okay, so we haven't checked before. But it could be male. Well, this is a nice opportunity to double check. Striding at a great speed. James.
Go ahead.
We're thinking it's a lioness. It looks as though she might be beelining towards the rest of the pride on Battalier, but she's still on Warburgs for now. Hasn't reached the Twin Dams junction.
Copy that. I'm approaching Giraffe Dip.
Copy. Fly like the wind. It's going to be fun if she goes into the Mulwati.
Yes, affirmative. The drone will be ideal then.
Seb, James was all the way at Cheetah Cut Line when we called him into this. He has now... Okay. Oh, she saw something. She just missed one very, very lucky antelope. There is one very relieved antelope that's just dashed out of her way.
Cover that. How far from junction Twin Dams is she?
She's almost at the junction now, probably about 50 meters or so. We are reaching a low battery point.
Okay, copy. I'll be there in 45 seconds, I hope.
James should be approaching us now, Sam. Where is he? See if I can spot him. I can see some antelope over there. Where is James? Fly, James, fly. There's some fighting impala in the background. You see that, Seb?
Yes.
I don't see James though. He should be coming any moment now. They're going to arrive at this junction at exactly the same time. She's now static looking at some impalas off to the north of her. Oh, she's carried on. We've got your visual. You're going to reach the junction almost at the same point as her. She is still on Warburg's Road. She's stopped to look again. Not hunting though, she's just standing looking.
Copy, got impala alarming.
We are now a few meters away. You should see her right in front of you.
Here we go. We got her.
And there we have it.
We got her, thank you.
They've got her.
I'm coming home, sorry.
Right, so what we have here is a young lioness. Looks like it might be one of the sub-adults of the Nkuhuma pride. No, it's not a sub-adult at all. It's not a young lioness either. It's the oldest lioness of this Nkuhuma pride. Let me just get out of the way. And we know that because of that great big injury on her backside. She looks very skinny. That's because she's hungry and she's quite old as well. She's calling. Of course, Tristan has the rest of the pride not far from here. And I suspect that's probably where she's going. She's definitely looking for them. Now, there was a lioness missing from the pride yesterday when we had them. We had 11. And there should be 12 with the young male. No, there should be 10 with the young male because the floppy-eared cub or sub-adult seems to have disappeared. Okay, so let's follow her. She was missing yesterday. I don't know where she was. Clearly very hungry. Yeah, everyone, you're all saying that she could do with a meal. She most certainly could do with a meal. She is not looking particularly healthy, I don't think, as dawn breaks here in the Kruger Park. Stop here and have a little listen. The rest of the pride was just off to her left-hand side yesterday, but they've gone about, let's say, a mile or so in the direction she's looking now, southeast. And she's calling. Yeah, let's carry on. I suspect she's going to track them. Now, if she does go down into this thick area here, we're going to struggle to keep up with her. Because, of course, it will get very bushwise. Let's see. So what they did last night was they came basically onto the road, then walked south, and then we left them at about 7 o'clock. OTC, they won't. This is the thing about lions. People tend to think of them as living in egalitarian society, look after each other, and that simply is not the case. They will have, apparently the rest of the pride looks pretty full. Tristan's sitting with them now. They will not have saved her anything. They will not have taken her back to eat necessarily or at all. And so no, if she didn't get part of the meal, she'll have to kill something herself or try desperately to keep up with the pride and eat whatever else they catch. Lions do not look after each other. They're not particularly hospitable. And like I said, this is the oldest lioness in the pride. The was a sub-adult was because she is so skinny. And it is quite dark, of course, still. Nearly bright enough for us to go into colour. Just starting to get light now. Alrighty, we're going to try and keep up with this cat. If you want to keep on watching us, please do so. You can go to YouTube, type in SafariLive, and you'll catch the rest of the safari. 2 of us out this morning, hopefully one from the Masai Mara at some stage. We're going to carry on now through this gap and hopefully see you on the other side.
Sorry about that. Seems as though James has got a few issues that have invaded his system, and so as you can see, this part of the Nkuhuma Pride is on the move, and so I'm pretty sure that they've heard the calls of that female that James has got, and now everybody is starting to get up and walk, and so it's just the Mangan male that is next to us who's going to get up shortly, and then it looks like the youngest of the females that's kind of at the back. But all of them are full. Still got blood on their face. So whatever they killed is not probably too far from where we are. We're probably about, I would say, 200 meters to the east of where Lauren and Seb lost them last night. And so they had to have eaten somewhere between there, unless they walked an odd way. They would have had to have kind of fed on that. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of where they're off to now. It's amazing how this happens often. I was saying to Trishada this morning is that out of all these kind of droning sessions that we've done, and we've done quite a lot now. Oh, they're all drinking. That's quite nice. We've done quite a few now during kind of gauntlets, and then now this morning, and obviously many others. It's amazing how most of the animals are actually, particularly the cats, are fairly sort of stationary early in the morning, and then only as that sun starts to come up, then we start to see them actually moving about and starting to kind of get going and really kind of go about their business. But look at this. How cool is this? The whole pride is drinking. I'm going to just try to get us into a slightly better spot, BK, where we can actually, I think here's going to be the best, I'm afraid, because we've got a big bush that's in front of them. I was hoping that we could get right in front and kind of see them. But let's do a little head count quickly while we're here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 by the looks of things. With James makes 11, which means that's the count. That is right. So we should have most of our lions here. You know, with the Mangan male, he makes up the 11th member. Remember that, unfortunately, it seems as though the one sub-adult that we used to... Now, you guys can hear them drinking. So I'm just going to keep quiet for a little bit. Isn't that cool? But you can actually hear them lapping water up. and they must be thirsty after a meal like that. They often do require a lot of water. It's kind of, you can see, I mean, that Mangane male almost looks like his belly is about to drag on the floor with meat. And so I'm intrigued to know what they killed and where they killed it. I wonder if they haven't grabbed a buffalo. There was a buffalo hanging around that Herbie's been finding tracks for, and so James also told me he had seen tracks, and it was not far from this area. So I wonder if they didn't grab that and they've kind of finished it off. Now, that male's looking behind him. Any more lions coming from behind us? Nope, doesn't look like it. Right, let's carry on with the pride. They seem to all be kind of moving off at the moment. I think we can probably almost time for these guys. I would have thought they would have laid down with stomachs as full as this. I was thinking that they were going to sleep, and saying so earlier, but they seem to be on a bit of a mission now, and it's probably due to the fact, like I say, that lioness is calling. But no, unless of course she gets to a point where she's just cannot keep up anymore with the pride, and can't really kind of walk and stay with them, then yes, the pride will have to move on and it will have to find food, and often then they walk just too fast for an old or injured individual, but they won't just kick her out for the sake of it when she's in the condition she's in now. I mean, she's still perfectly healthy in terms of her body, and even though she is oldest of the lionesses in this pride, she's still not an incredibly old individual. I've had many lions in the Sabi Sands that are much older than these guys, but they are heading straight to where James kind of is at the moment. They've all got noses down, sniffing about, and kind of slowly moving in that direction. And so I wonder if we're going to get a reunion. I'm pretty sure I'm going to see James's car fairly shortly. In the meantime, though, I'm going to send you back across to James, speaking of him, and see where he is and which direction he's heading.
A little bit of a heart-rending time here, because this lioness is very clearly looking for the pride, and this is where they were yesterday, so she's about 24 hours late. She can obviously smell them. And you desperately want to tell her where they are, which I have done. I've told her that they're on Batelier Road, but of course she doesn't understand me. There's absolutely no way of me helping the situation unless I tie a lamb chop to the back of the car and then sort of drive very quickly in front of her. Be a hell of a waste of a lamb chop, though. She's probably going to have a drink, Dar, but I'm going to move. Yeah. I'd like to get to the other side, but I think she'll have finished drinking by then. Sorry about that, David. For those of you who have been with us since the beginning of this drive, which started, feels like last week, but was actually only at 4 o'clock, you'll notice that the sound is now much louder. With robins and batises and doves, barbets, hornbills, Sticklers, Franklins, and lion. I always find that a lioness, or any lion that is hungry, always looks unhealthy, and that is simply because, you know, they don't look thin healthily, if you know what I mean. As soon as they're hungry, they look emaciated. She, however, is also starting to show a lack of musculature on her hindquarters, and I think she is starting to lose muscle. Alrighty, let's continue. She's going to pop out. I'm reticent to try and follow her through here because I don't think it's going to be possible without breaking something. Well, we can try. Because I think she's going to take this game path and pop out on the road where they were last night, next to the pan where we began this morning. But let's see. Maybe we'll be able to follow her through here. I just know that there are a lot of sticks. Yes, we think that a few of the members of the Pride are her offspring. There was that die-off after the white muscle disease. And we're not... You see, once the cubs get to a certain age, it becomes quite difficult to remember whose is whose. So, yes, I think maybe one or two of the youngsters, the sub-adults, it would be wrong to call them cubs at this stage, are hers. Now I can see tracks here of vehicles, and I'm pretty sure this is where Lauren followed them yesterday evening as they went through. So she's on their tracks. Now I know that if a few of you have questioned one or two of our presenters or guides who've said that lions can they can smell the tracks of their colleagues. And I think what's generally being meant there is that, you know, she's following a scent track, absolutely. Whether she's smelling where they've stood or not, I don't know. But I find it difficult to see how else she could be smelling. You know, none of them would have, I don't know if they've marked here. I suppose she'd also be following their marks, and if they've walked past bushes, then those bushes will smell like lion. But I'm pretty sure that their feet actually leave a scent trail. If you think about it, it's the same way that dogs find human beings when they track them, or whatever else they might be looking for. Teresa, you say it's so sad. She needs her lion family. She does need her lion family, doesn't she? I agree. And I do find it quite sad. And interestingly, the older I get, and the more time I spend out here, the more affected by this sort of thing I become. I'd have expected myself to become slightly inured to it and be able to detach myself more and more and just become an observer. But I find just the opposite happens. So yes, I feel quite sorry for this lioness. Which is of course ridiculous, because I guarantee you she doesn't feel sorry for herself. Yeah, she's going straight along this game path. She's going to pop out onto Twin Dams Road, which is in the middle of the reserve, and then Chelapan, which is a little waterhole south of that, and then hopefully she'll walk straight to where Tristan is. We're still probably about 1 kilometre away, so about 2/3 of a mile, as the crow flies, or the eagle. You're all saying I'm a softie, thank you. David, did you know I was a softie? You did? Oh, well, good. I have to take my jacket off now, it's warming up. There she goes. I'll try and get through this slightly difficult area. Snazzy, no, I don't think lions ever become too old to mate until right before death. You know, that's just simply a function of the fact that they don't experience a menopause period, which means that she will go into estrus pretty much until she dies. Unless she's compromised nutritionally. Oof, a lion made a dump around here last night sometime. And so no, they never become too old to mate. She'd certainly become too old to carry youngsters to term though, but that would be right at the very, very end of her life. So it's completely unlike with human beings or with some whale species. There she goes. Hello. Other way. Turn around. Do a 180. Other way. Now, Michael Fleetwood, who knows much about all of our animals out here, says that the tatty-eared cub and the male, interestingly, so we've got one young male in the pride, is in fact, or are in fact, her offspring. Thank you for that, Michael. Where's she gone? Is she moving or just behind us?
Reversing the same way.
She's just reversing. That's an interesting thing to do. Okay, well, while we try and figure out what's going on over here, we're going to go across to Tre, Shala, and the lions.
Good morning, good morning. I am so glad to be in the hot seat yet again. I have swapped over with Tristan, and I am Trishala, coming to you from Djuma on the western side of the Kruger National Park, as you all know. Now, we have been following the Nkuhumas, who have had an amazing meal last night, and just trying to figure out what exactly they've had. Now, I'm waiting for one more straggler to move off, and then I can go round to Chele Pan, which is where we think they're going to. They've just grabbed a drink at one of the other pools, and maybe they're after another. But they really do look great at this point. That's the Mangeni male there, missing the tuft of hair at the bottom of his tail. I must say, compared to yesterday, when I had seen them with him, or the last couple of days when I had seen him with them, he was still getting a few snarls, a few growls here and there. But he seems to be getting along a bit better with everybody. Maybe Amber has just got a bit irritable, hormones, hungry. Women don't like to be hormonal and hungry at the same time. Ooh. Let us follow them for a bit. Oop. That's what happens when you drive with the moon boot. Lee would like to know how long lions can go without food. Well, it obviously depends on a few things. Firstly, what they kill. They have the potential to take down quite big mammals, and especially one of the few animals that can, let me just pop this into low range, who can take down prey the size of about 250 kgs or more, or maybe a little more than that. And we're thinking that maybe they took down a kudu or something similar. And then a big meal like that, or a big meal like a buffalo, can provide them with, I'd say, maybe a few days to a week of, sorry guys, of food. But then again, the pride is big, and they'll need to catch prey that's going to feed them all. Otherwise, somebody is going to get left out. Now let's try this again. Short legs and moon boot. There we go. Chris would like to know, what exactly is a moon boot? A moon boot is the wonderful little contraption that doctors put on your foot when you had an injury, like I had on my foot. And so what it does is it protects my foot, but it's also massive. In fact, I'll show it to you just as soon as I get out of here. In fact, I think if I was driving my little city car, no ways it would have fitted on the pedals. I think I'd be pressing the accelerator and the brake at the same time, which is no good. There they are. Randall would like to know if an elephant stepped on my foot. Randall, if an elephant stepped on my foot, I would have come out with no foot. No, I just had a small accident with my foot and I fractured a metatarsal, which are the bones on the bridge of your foot between your toes and your ankles, basically. So we've just caught up with them. Now we know that James had the last member, we think, calling on his end. Cobra. Was it Cobra Boy or just Cobra? He says that I'm worried that the lions are going to figure out that I'm injured. I don't know if worried is the word, but I am definitely trying to keep it on the down low when it comes to being around the cats, especially because we always hear that they're after the sick and the lame, right? And at the moment I'm not sick, but I'm definitely lame in a true dictionary sense. I was saying to the others, Kirst is most definitely lame. Of course I am. We were saying a couple days ago, we were with Craig and Jamie. Oh, what have you seen? What have you seen? Let's just listen for a second. Something has definitely caught their attention. You're gonna sit down. Ooh. I'm not sure if you guys heard this, but we heard a slight And that is the female approaching from the right of me. We just caught a glimpse of her. See here where I would be sitting and puzzling at, oh, what are they listening to? Oh, listen to that. You'll see her come on screen just now. So what this lioness was doing here, the it's kind of a contact call. Hello. So in Juma, where we are, that's what Juma actually means. I used to think that just meant roar or lions roar, but it actually means contact call. Anyway, let us go to James' lion quickly, who appears to be running, hopefully towards the side.
Okay, that lioness definitely heard the others calling. Unfortunately, she's now run past us on her way back. Down the road, she's going the right way. I also don't want to get too close to her and make a noise. She's obviously heard the rest, and she's going high speed, trotting down the road. Good for her. We didn't hear them, but she obviously did. She turned, suddenly lifted her foot like this, and then went trotting off down the road. I'm going to turn off so that we can just ease down the road behind her. There she is. Oh, here they come. Look at this. Look. Look how happy the little ones are to see. Oh, that's great. Look at that. Look how fat they are in comparison with her. All right, we're about to bump into Tishala. I think we're going to leave the sighting to her. We'll just quickly go down the road a little bit more and have another look. and then leave them to her because I think she's going to have much better signal in this area than we are. Look at this. Hi, guys. Oh, yes. Very fat. Did you keep anything for your friend? No. You didn't. There's blood all over that lioness who's just arrived. It wasn't very friendly. Very grumpy. One of them just lay down on the stick and hurt herself. It was a wonderful moment, that little reunion. It's tremendous to see animals when they show each other such affection. I think that angry one there on the right there, Darv, is pregnant. She's definitely full of food as well, but I wonder if there isn't a level of irritation born of a heavy belly. They're enjoying a good sleep now. That's a lovely picture you've created for us. Thank you, David. That's great. That was a lioness David was showing you there. All right, let's go to Trish. She's got the other side of the reunion. I suspect she's also got the Mangan male and the young Kohuma male. We're going to move on from here and leave the lions with her.
Yes, they have reunited. Look at this. Look at how she comes through and sort of greets everybody.
Mm-hmm.
She walked right by our car. You really do get in awe of their presence when they come close to you and you realize they're huge. Isn't it just awesome? Hey, Purple Eye. This is really awesome. Everyone's so happy to see each other. Well, she is affectionately known as Nana. So I suppose she is the one that, oh, like, you know, your Nana helps everybody out. She's looking a bit skinny. Nonetheless, very, very cool to see them all come together like that. Now, the rest of the pride seems to have moved ahead. But still, she came through and down all this way to greet everyone. Wow, that was really cool. In fact, if you want, why don't you guys send through a one-word tweet using the hashtag SafariLive and, of course, the YouTube chat stream. Patrick would like to know if they're unusually active for being this full. And they are really full, and I am used to them being quite inactive during the day. But it's still not quite, I mean, it's only 5:45 in the morning. It's very cool. The sun's not even up really. It's bright, but there's no rays, you know, beaming down on them yet. And they did look very, very comfortable sitting with their full bellies on the other side. And I think what has the sitting there on that side, but I think that the call is what brought them all together here. Now, I didn't hear that wonderful one-word tweet that you guys had sent in. If I had to say one word for this, I would say awe. As in AWE, not as in AWWWWW, as you would if you were texting it. Lisa says happy. Definitely. Definitely happy. One happy family. They are looking great. Tristan was just saying to me that when they eat, their condition looks so much better. And that is very, very true. You can see it immediately. And I think that contributes a lot to the Mangeni male's condition right now, being in this kind of environment, a little less stress and a lot more food. Oh, what are you doing? Trying to catch flies. Oh, Lynn's one word is family. I can just imagine it. Be family with a heart afterwards. Listen. So the ticking noise that you're hearing is not what I'm referring to. That is the camera. But I am referring to the roars or slight contact calls that this animal is making at the moment. Now, lions and other cats in general do tend to, let me just move along and see where these guys are going, do tend to call at most during dusk and dawn mostly, and that's because the call travels faster during these times. Why exactly that happens, I'm not sure. But it must have something to do with the air and temperature and the traveling of that sound wave at this time of day. Oh, there you are. Just gonna get up here so everyone can get a good view. Hey guys, it's me, I'm back again. Been seeing you for so many days. There we go. I think they've finally settled down again for the day. I really do think it was that the female, the oldest female, and the call is that's what woke them up there to move along. But now they've definitely settled in. Oh, it always gets me how affectionate they are towards each other. Look at that, like house cats almost. What's also nice for you guys to hear, and I hope they do it again, is the slapping of the tail against their bodies to get rid of all the flies that are bothering them. It's quite interesting. When I heard it, I wasn't sure what on earth that was. When I look carefully, I see it's actually their tails slapping against their bodies. Look at that. BK, if you can... Oh, look at that belly. Yeah, you had a good meal. They all pretty much have huge bellies. Everyone is feeling bad that the oldest lioness didn't get any food. Well, she is looking quite skinny. I hope we could get a good view of her, but she seems to have walked in the opposite direction. Maybe she's going to find something for herself since everybody else has dined without her last night. But yeah, I think she definitely needs a good meal as well. Especially to heal up that wound that she's got on her thigh area. Whew. Mangeni male has also eaten a feast. you see the way that they're panting. It's not as if they've been running or anything like that. It's just that the whole process of digesting this amount of meat takes quite a lot of energy from them. There she comes. Now look at her belly compared to the others. Oh, are you looking for some scraps? He's just saying, don't worry, we missed you. As Tristan was saying earlier, their faces are still a bit bloody, so maybe there is a little bit left over somewhere for her. We can hope. Well, the wound on Nana's back does not look too bad. Doesn't look oozing or anything like that. It looks dried up. So hopefully she'll be fine. In the meantime, while I hang around here for a little longer and see what these cats get up to, let us go to James with some vultures.
We have got here the silhouette of a tree with a member of our extensive avifauna sitting on the top left-hand corner. It is, of course, a vulture. It looks to me like a white-backed vulture. Would you agree, David? Not the best view of a white-backed vulture we've ever had on account of the fact that the sky is so much brighter than the bird. But one is always hoping that when one sees a vulture that there might be a predator not too far below it, perhaps snacking on some meat. Oh, I know how you feel, buddy. I know how you feel. It's quite something when you've been awake for 3 hours at 6 o'clock in the morning. They do have the most ominous look, the way they hunch their shoulders like that. Stick their necks into their shoulders. Trying to think who they look like in camp. There's somebody in camp who looks like that when he's cross. It's probably me, actually. It was a very familiar look to me, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was until I realized it is in fact me who looks like that when I'm cross. David, what's wrong? Why are you...
This is accurate.
You think it's accurate? Thank you. Well, the next time we see a marabou stalk, I shall compare it with you. Apparently, this is according to Kirsten in the final control, all of the viewers and all of the FC agree that I look like a vulture. Great. I think I'll probably just leave now. Ollie, take over.
Come back, James.
I'm not coming back. I've had enough. Outrageous insults. Come. The vulture is out. Good luck. I hope that they're nicer to you than they were to me.
Hier, peace, Malube.
They've made you angry, very angry. Oh, my earpiece is not properly in. So, good morning, beautiful people. My name is Oli, and welcome to SafariLive Sunrise Safari. Joining us behind the camera is Davisito, still the one who's joining us now. Malum James, Uncle James, not even in the vehicle. Let's go, Malum James. Oh, he's in. So, we are still with our vulture. We are not leaving this vulture. Let's go to that vulture. For any questions or comments, you can type hashtag SafariLive on Twitter or YouTube chat stream. You will find us there. So we'll love to hear from you. We'll try by all means to answer all your questions. So vultures around this time, they hardly fly, so they're waiting for thermal. So in a weather like this, they probably fly, or they will spend much time sitting like this before flying. And during this time, they still have to stretch their wings, stretch their heads, their legs before they take off. So, hey vulture, let's move forward and see what else we can find. Maybe we might see a carcass lying around, who knows? Oh, Uncle's seat is so deep, I don't know what happened here. Let me switch and I'm trying to. It's not still. It's not comfortable. I don't know what happened. Uncle, what did you do with this seat? Oh, it's so uncomfortable. I feel like I'm... While I'm busy fixing my seat, let's go to Trishala with the lions.
I am just repositioning here since they've all seemed to be settled now on this side. We've got two behind us and these guys in front of us. Now this is what I'm used to. Them on their sides, properly on their sides. And earlier when we saw them, though they were on their sides, their heads were all picked up. And I think that might have a lot to do with the other female calling, of course. This is a bit more what I'm used to. Are they coming past us on the right? If you can get that beaky, it's quite close. Snazzy would like to know if lions breathe hard for the same reasons that leopards do. And if you're thinking about the fact that they are continuously burning all of this protein that they need to digest, then yes, that is why. And you see it often when they have these big bellies, and the same thing goes for leopards. I would really like to know what they've killed. Now we saw Nana walking around. She went down around from where they came from, and she went all the way to the sides here, around here, looking for any leftovers. But I don't think she managed to find any. Look at that. Lazy, lazy Friday mornings. That's how we all should be spending our Friday mornings. Anyway, let's see how Isaac is spending his Friday morning in the Masai Mara.
Yes. Good morning once more, and welcome back to the Masai Mara. The gremlins were on us from very early this morning, but we have overpowered them, and it's a beautiful sunrise once again. We had to swap vehicles due to technical issues, and now we are back, and this is the start of our morning. The balloon just drifting, just taken off, seems to be going quite fast. Yeah, the tree in front of you is a Buschia coriacea. We call it the shepherd's tree. And we just stopped here so that we could confirm our comms at 100%, and they are. Well, it has been a rather beautiful morning. There has been quite a lot going on while we were away, but all is well now. And I'm not very far from Hyena headquarters, and that's my plan now, to go there and see what is happening at Hyena headquarters. I haven't been there for about 2 nights, and I'm hoping to find everybody, you know, still there. See what politics are going on this morning, and maybe I don't know, maybe there's nobody. So let's go. Join me, and let's go find out exactly what's happening. Well, it's sunrise, quite some beautiful sunlight over here. Oh, we have some elephant in the sun. I don't know how that would look, but he's all by himself. I don't know why. Looks like a female, and he's quite on a mission. Oh, there's a few more over there. Yeah, this is the beauty of Masai Mara. When you come somewhere high like this, you will see quite some good stuff, and high points like this are very useful for us. When you stop, you might be able to see quite a lot, and this is the case here. I just stopped there, and it just didn't take very long to see this beautiful Pachidam walking down the sea of grass. She looks very happy. Looks like she's going to have a great reunion with the rest of her herd. Yeah, I wonder what they were up to the whole night. This is the African elephant, the only one we find in the East African plains. And that looks like a female. And she's very happy grazing on her grass, going to join the rest. She must have overslept because she's quite a distance away from the rest. These guys, remember, they consume quite a lot of food, up to about a quarter of a ton every day to compensate their big size. So they have very poor digestive system, and so they need to eat constantly. They need to eat constantly because their stomach system is very, very poor. In front of me, I'm joined by a few more that are on a mission. They have decided that it's better on one side of the road than the other, and that is a female. I would say the second one coming is her calf, maybe the first one, and then there's another youngster, that's a male, and then the last one also looks like a male. Yes, and looks like they all belong to that female we saw earlier. They're quite busy, I think. I don't know why. Maybe the breakfast is better on one side of the road. Yeah, very, very busy. Balum, 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 balum. They look like, they walk very clumsily, very slow, but I tell you, their stride is quite huge. He's not very impressed by the noise of the cab coming behind me. I'm sure these are the balloon guys. They're going to collect the guys when they land. So he's quite at a pace behind me. You can hear the noise coming. Yeah, beautiful view of the Masai Mara. Yeah, he's just gonna go through past me. Yeah. Yeah, that's all the noise. Yeah, the little guy is not very happy because of the noise. Now he looks quite relaxed. Everything's quite okay. Kayla, good morning. I hope you had a good night's sleep, Kayla. Yes, do elephants get sunburn? No. And I say that because I've never seen one with sunburn. And actually, if I saw one with one, I would never know. But they are very good in taking care of their skin and themselves in such that, when they're in areas where there's no mud to apply on their skin, they'll actually use their toes to dig lots of soil on the ground. Then using their trunks, they'll suck it into their trunk and throw it onto their backs. So it still sticks on their backs, and so they rarely get sunburn. They know how to really, really take care of themselves. Thank you, Kayla, for that great question this morning. And also, being very intelligent, they know when to keep away from the sun. In those areas where it does get very, very hot, they have been known to head to where there's trees and just, rest in the shade until conditions are cooler. The behavior you see here, all of them scattered the distance quite away, tells me there is no threat. Everybody is very happy. Everybody is content. Very relaxed behavior. Sometimes you find them, all of them, bunched up together. That means there is tension. Somebody is not happy or they feel tense. But in the case here, in Masai Mara, you can tell how scattered they are. This gives me an indication that all is well and everybody is very, very happy. You see how scattered they are. That is so lovely to see that. Means they're comfortable, they're not worried. Even the youngsters and the mothers are not worried that the little ones will get harassed by anybody. Lily, you say this is a peaceful scene. You're very, very, very right. It is so peaceful. It's one of the most peaceful scenes and places you want to be. Right now, you can tell everybody's relaxed. I don't know if you can hear the sound of the birds. Yes, that's how peaceful it is, not only for me, but for the animals. Yes, it is just a beautiful scene. That's Mom. I think the little guy is getting too close because maybe she wants some milk. Sometimes that's what they do. They'll stick to their mothers, rub almost onto their bodies. It's like to ask without using words. So the mother picks up very quickly that, the little guy wants some milk. That's how they learn. They realize, or they know. They are eating the red oat grass, which is in plenty over here. And there's no problem of grass here. Okay. Yes, we're going to continue on down the road. And my mission is to go to my hyena headquarters and see what is there. And while I do that, I'll link you to Trishala, who's got some lions.
Oh, Isaac is so lucky. I would love to find the hyena headquarters here in Juma again. As you know, they've moved off. And I saw one yesterday, but it just seems, they, especially now that the bush is so thick and they walk through the worst blocks to go off-riding in, and I just couldn't follow him. But I would love to find the hyenas. I think these guys are pretty settled now. Tristan and I were just having a discussion on what we think the pride dynamic will be and expecting cubs. And of course, we love to have some cubs. I'd love to see some lion cubs bounding about Juma, see them every drive. But that also means a lot more mouths to feed. And if you imagine that all these sexually active females have cubs, you're going to get a lot more mouths to feed. And I kind of wonder, will the pride split up? And if they do, what does that mean for Juma? What does that mean for the evoker males? It's an interesting discussion. It's also something good to kind of have a think about. In fact, if you can let us know what you think using the hashtag SafariLive. But of course, I know that you all love cubs, but I'd like to know what had happened with the actual pride dynamics. Because that would be a lot more lions to feed. Look at all the flies on them. Joe would like to know if lions dream when they sleep. What a question, Joe. Obviously, I have no idea, but I can't speculate. And, I don't know, dreaming has a lot to do with consciousness, if I could say that. And being conscious and aware in the type of way that, say, humans are. Emotional kind of consciousness. And whether or not lions have that, I'm not sure. But if they do, dream that is, and when I think of dream, I think maybe mind being active at night or creating thought at night. I'm sure they do, in a basic way. Curse says they dream of buffalo burgers. I'm not sure they know what a burger is, Curse, but definitely dreaming or thoughts of the chase, the eating, I'm sure that does come into their minds. But whether they have strange and obscure dreams like we do, I'm not sure. PL says they dream of driving around looking for humans. I like that one. I'm gonna steal that. I think they're dreaming that too. I can just see them with their spotlight out. Thinking, do you like that now? Do you like it now? Then they jump out and eat us. No, I'm sure not. I think they kind of just rest. I don't think their mind races like ours does and creates this melting pot of random things in our heads that just seem to seep out at night. Sometimes I wonder how pleasant it must be to be a wild animal and not have all these other things that you've got to worry about. Payments, as Tristan was saying in the morning. I love making payments in the morning. Banks, insurance, all of that. Kids, school. No, just relax. Eat and do your best to survive. Here she comes. Oh, Nana, didn't you find anything to eat? Michael says he would love some new cubs. Of course, we all would. But he does think that the pride will split. And I am inclined to believe or agree with Michael. I do think so. I mean, it's just become such a large pride. And it's kind of unheard of in these parts. But like he said, the territory is quite large and the home range of these animals can be massive. So, ooh. I heard a hyena whooping. Shh, she's here. Ooh. I might just leave these lions and go looking for that hyena. I might just do that. We are desperate to find the den, and I think this is a great opportunity. I can hear it right over here. There's nothing like the whooping of a hyena. Oh, it stopped. And I think that can be my mission for the rest of the day. After I've sat with these cats for some time, I think I will definitely go have a look for those hyena. They seem pretty flat, and I'm happy to leave them here at the moment. I'm going to move down to where I think I heard them. While I go look for the elusive hyenas, as they have been recently, let's go to Isaac, who is luckier than me.
Yes, I have arrived at hyena headquarters, and my friends, the inhabitants of this beautiful place or village, are all here. My young friends who always want to fix my vehicle and go underneath it are already onto it. They're actually going under, but those two over there are actually saying hello to each other. There's one that's being very submissive, suckling in style, lying down. Yeah, that one is not being very welcome. Yeah. Yeah, looks like that's the mother of those two, and she wants to give them some milk. Maybe they didn't have anything the whole night. Yeah. Yeah. Here are my two friends who always want to go underneath the vehicle. I hope one day they don't discover the fuel pipes or the brake pipes. Otherwise I won't be able to leave here. He's already wanting to go under, and he's already almost going under. His friend is, I think he's asking him, you know, can you check, make sure the humans don't come out of the vehicle. Yeah, here's the other guy. Oh, he didn't like maybe the smell of the vehicle underneath, and he's taken off. Here, actually, I don't know for some reason, but there were more than this. That would be a very scary. Glory, you say the hyena sounds like a human baby. That would be a very scary human baby. Yes, but they do. When they are begging, they go. Yeah, yeah, but it would be a very scary baby. These are very healthy looking young ones. It is amazing, guys, you know, to be this close, because actually it is not my wish, but they come towards the vehicle. And if I start, I would scare them. So they're just enjoying being around the vehicle, and I'm enjoying it. I hope you're doing it. Remember to keep us going. You can talk to us on #SafariLive. Watch us on YouTube, the live stream. And this is coming to you from the beautiful Mara Triangle in the Masai Mara in Kenya. It is the beginning of the day, and in this clan of hyenas, we call it the Olololo clan, they're all here. Lioness, you're asking me, is anybody doing research on these guys? For sure, the triangle hyena research, they are doing research on them, but I'm sure they have ways to identify them. We don't have ways to identify them yet. We know that this is the Olololo clan, and they reside here, but those guys, I'm sure, know a bit about them. We know them as, you know, our favorite, or one of our favorite clans that we follow. So they are doing research, and there's no hyena, I'm sure, that they haven't seen. Maybe the small ones, but the big ones, most of them, they have ways of identifying them, of which I'm getting to learn about it. And very soon I'm going to be a very big expert, because they are becoming more and more of my favorite animals, especially that they are much more active than other cats, especially lions. They're always doing something. Really, you know, makes me want to learn more about them. Very inquisitive. they'll always come to the car. Christine, you ask if baby hyenas smell? Yes, they do smell. And it's a smell that you don't want to be downwind from when you've taken a nice breakfast or at lunch. It is very smelly. You can imagine somebody, who's gone for a marathon and, has, 55 marathons and never had a shower. So that's a kind of smell, It's very, very smelly. It's the opposite of anything good. It smells really bad. So they do smell. And over here, sometimes when the wind changes, sometimes we have to close our noses. How all of them smell. You can imagine a meat eater. They do smell. Those are youngsters over there, always trying to bully each other, but that one is trying to be nice to the other one. Always trying to chew the ears. This is how they get sometimes the marks on the ears. The little guy there, he looks like to be very bullied by others. Yeah, that is. Christy, you asked me how many cubs are in this clan. It is a very good question because I have been here almost every other day, but I haven't been able to count the exact number. The ones that I counted about 4 days ago were about 16. From the age of about 5 months, to the age of about 3 months. Not counting the bigger one, like that one there. That is about maybe 6 months. I didn't count that one. I'm counting the one to the left, the one being beaten, all the way down. That is hyena play. Sometimes it can get rough. So I have counted from 5 months down, and I've counted about 15, 16. So there could be 5 that I missed, or in between 5. So there could be about 20, which tells me that this is a clan where all females are breeding. Unlike the books say that only the matriarch breeds, here the rules have been broken. And it tells that the hyenas haven't read the books and they don't follow what is written in the books. Everybody here is breeding. And the reason is you have too many young ones. Female hyenas give birth only to 2 maximum because they have only 2 mammary glands. So here there is a lot of matriarchs. That is an older brother who's actually also, I think, is helping in babysitting. You can tell these bigger ones are much smarter. I don't know if it's called smarter, but they're much more careful of getting close to our vehicles. Remember, this is an animal that in the books and also in the African folklore and historically was perceived to be a dirty, scavenging, begging, all sorts of, names were given to this beautiful creature. But over here, it plays a very big role in the African plains because it takes care of all dead matter. And without them, without the spotted hyena, which is common here, would have, lots of disease, lots of bones spreading everywhere. So they play a very vital and they're key to, controlling disease in the, plains of Africa. Also, it's a very successful animal. Like you can tell here, they are doing very well. You cannot have this many babies if life is tough on your side. So here you can tell there's lots of young ones. It means the females feel comfortable. They come into season and they mate. And so, all these young ones are born. And the reason they're so successful is whatever they eat is properly utilized. Nothing much is left. Only those bones that are too tough, like the skull, the vertebrae, the femurs, the tibias, everything else, from hoofs, skin, even fur, ears, noses, you know, you name it, skin, all of it is a delicacy to the hyenas, and they love it. They don't play with food, hyenas. Yeah, a little bit of play from small cousin to big cousin. Yeah, that is, you can see their genitalia, which is rather, you know, quite huge. You know, the females actually have got an elongated procedure, which makes it very hard for them to mate. Chris, would I have food in the vehicle that they like? That's why they're coming. I would think that they don't smell it, because usually we carry tea, biscuits, maybe apples, bananas, things that they actually wouldn't eat. We don't carry any kind of meat, and I doubt if they would be interested in. That's quite interesting behavior there. A little feisty one. Yes, so I don't think they would be interested in those. So actually, I don't carry anything that smells that would attract them. Maybe it's Bungay who's carrying something in his pocket. Maybe he's got a biltong or, you know, some meat in his pocket. But they're just curious. They're just curious about the vehicle. We're not carrying any kind of food. Chris. Do you hear that? The one is biting the metal underneath the vehicle. It's really nice to see them play like this. Well guys, I hope you're really enjoying this. It's one of those rare moments where you see actually interaction between young and old hyenas playing without hurting each other. It's really, really cool. Look at this guy. He doesn't look like, he looks like he was very bullied. He's not as healthy, he's not as big. Sometimes we can tell this. Look at this one to the left. He's much bigger. Oh. But they all look very happy. Yeah. It's quite a good number that I can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. About 16 spread out everywhere. That one looks like he doesn't want to share the bone. Yeah, well, we keep a stake on this place. Let me take you to Soli, who's got some tracks on the ground.
You are the luckiest fish, Isaac. I'm not lucky this morning to find a cat, because I found a fresh track of a male leopard, but we hope that we thought it was Tingana or Hukumuri, because the track is much bigger than Hosana's one, or a female track. So this is what we have. But unfortunately, the track is going to another neighboring reserve. We followed it, not on foot, with a car. We saw it while we were driving, and then we started following it. Unfortunately, we won't find it. So why I'm saying it's a male track, you can see, actually, let me go out for a few minutes, and then I'll show you why this track, it's a male. You can see the size of the track. And the males are about 8 centimeters long, And the size itself, it tells you that this track is big. And you can see the lobes here. And the female is quite smaller. It will turn around here compared to this size that we see over here. So this one is a male leopard. So that's why we thought it's Hukumuri or Tingana, because I can't really differentiate or tell which is which just by looking at the track, because it's so difficult, and it takes a lot of time or a lot of practice to tell who's who by using a track. Oh, sorry, I have a sand here. Technical difficulties. Jamie wants to know what's the hardest track to see on the ground. Oh, we have a lot of different species that walks on the ground, but for me it's the squirrel. Sometimes it's so difficult to differentiate between a squirrel and a dwarf mongoose. So sometimes I make a mistake by saying a squirrel is a dwarf mongoose, or a dwarf mongoose is a squirrel, because they have nearly the same track. So what I've seen earlier on about the lions, now I thought that, and the easiest track to see on the ground, FC is asking, is a lion. It's so easy to differentiate because it's big, especially for a male, and for a female it's much smaller, but easy to tell. So talking about the lion tracks, earlier on you saw the lions, and I thought only a hyena can track and follow a scent. So a lion showed me something today. It was following these lions just by using the scent. So I'm trying my luck. Maybe I'll find leopards. Paula, you have a question. Is the termite track hard to see? Yes, Paula. Termites tracks are so hard to see. And I also did insects. But they were so difficult to tell, because we have the beetles, we have the crickets, we have the termites, and they are so difficult. But it's so easier to tell sometimes if you are lucky. If they move or walk in a colony, then you will see one line like ants do. Because normally to differentiate the track of an ant, they normally use it as the same path, so they will walk there, so that they will create a path so that it will be easy to identify. But our substrate here, it's sand. So like we have not the fine particles of the soil, but much rough and say bigger particles of the sand. So for an ant to walk here or a termite to walk, you won't even see that track. The substrate needs to be very, very, very fine. So that's why it will be much difficult to tell or see a termite track. We don't have any sunlight today. So while I'm counting on my luck, let's go up to David Isaac with the hyena.
Yeah, the village of hyenas is still very busy. Different activities are going on, and sometimes it's really hard to tell exactly what's going to happen next. They keep moving from one den where I'm to the farthest one. Females keep appearing from the long grass and some others disappearing in the long grass. New cubs are emerging from new dens and some going back. So it's rather a very busy place here. There is never a dull moment. Everybody looks like to be doing something or interested in doing something. There's some minor arguments. I think I would call them inner politics or internal politics that I cannot understand. Here you can tell these are quite some big cubs, but they're still very much dependent on their mother's milk, and I would call that suckling with a swag, because that one, you know, he had his legs up, suckling with his legs up. Mommy doesn't like to be suckled from behind, so no. Hey, why you? Get out. Yeah, so there's some politics going on. I don't know exactly what everybody's saying. Yeah, she's not very welcome, that one. They're really begging to drink. Sometimes when she's got enough and she feels comfortable, she'll sit down so they can drink at ease. But right now I would say maybe she doesn't have enough, so she doesn't feel like sitting down. Oh, another third one is drinking. Interesting. Did she have three? Let's see. No, I don't think this one belongs to her. This one closer to us doesn't belong to her. Yeah, that little one is helping Mom chase one away for some reason. And he was drinking. Well, I don't know exactly what happened there, but looks like she's got very good milk, that, you know. TC, you ask if the hyena is from the canine family. Yes, it is. It's from the order Carnivora, and then it's broken down. It's the closest, it's a subfamily of the Felidae, which are all, you know, cats. It's a suborder of the order Felidae, which is closely related to lions than dogs, but they're in a family of their own. You'd say that they look more like dogs, but scientifically it has been proven that they're actually closer to, they're closer to cats than dogs. But one thing that really strikes me is how they only have 2 mammary glands, just 2. You know, cats have got 4, dogs have got 8. You know, cheetahs have got more like 8, lions have got almost 8, tigers. But these guys have got only 2, and so they can only give birth to 2. Yeah, like I told you, there's some politics going on. I wish I could speak hyena, know exactly what's happening. So they will, you know, only give birth to 2, and at the same time having a very behavior like lions, where they're very gregarious and they will accommodate each other when there is no meat, but once there is meat they will fight for it. Yeah, looks like there is something going on. This female is trying to let her little cub suckle, but the others want to say hello, or I don't know what they want to do. Yeah, I think it's grooming at the same time suckling, multitasking. Yeah, a little bit of a nap. So they have some behaviors that will resemble cats, at the same time some behaviors that will resemble dogs, but they're in a class of their own. A very, very efficient hunter. and one of the most widespread predator in the African plains. They don't consider man as a threat or a source of food, but they have been known to take man if they got a chance. When I was young in my village, I did witness, people that had been taken by them, but I would say it was their fault because, they went and drank. We have a very lethal local brew, and if you drink it and it's getting dark, you might get lost. You lose your compasses, and all you want, it knocks down your knees, your arms. You just feel like you want to lie down. And so these people that were eaten actually decided to have a little nap in the middle of a road or a path where the hyenas were passing. And, for them, having not eaten and living close to humans and not having to eat, something to eat, we found out, they had been eaten. Those are the cases that only I've had in my life. I've never heard of them going straight for man or humans. They are opportunists, so if they get a chance, they will utilize it, and I'm sure this is what they did to these guys. All we found in the morning were the fingers and toes, the torn clothing, and the skull. So the hyenas had a feast of humans. Sorry, to be discussing this, but it did happen. And that's the only time that I saw, hyenas actually going for humans. Otherwise, in villages, they're very smart, very much like a dog. And that's where they come in, they have a few similarities to dog. In Maasai villages and Kalenjin villages, at home, where it's not far from here, and the villages here, they'll come out at night. And, they'll come to the village and find if there's a cow that has been left outside. Yeah. Let's see what's happening in Juma. It has been raining. Let's see what's happening.
Well, what is happening in Juma is rain. We were rushing off back to camp to get our rain covers. And then we stumbled upon a wonderful rainbow that seems to have disappeared ever so slightly. Can you still get that, BK? It was just above this bush, but no, it's gone. But if you can, to the left, that white eye is on the ground right there. Can you see it, BK? Just down there between the termite mound and this bush here. It's on the ground somewhere. It is a little to the right. A little more, little more. Oh, where'd you go? Oh, there you are. There you are. So if you're seeing little bits of what looks like not natural material on the screen, it's because we have our rain covers on. The ones that we can just put onto the vehicle, not the big roof. So that is what you're seeing in the corner of your screens. And what you're looking at is a beautiful wider. I really hope that he'll fly for us, and then you can see the long tail. Very nice. I think they're so pretty. Please fly, mister. Please fly. So I know that this is a mister because of the long tail, and he is displaying to all the females around him, saying, look at me, this is what I can handle. I can handle the weight of this long tail, even though it impedes my flight incredibly. I can handle it. Look at him go. Oh, some impala have just come and chased him. So if you didn't get a clear look at him, he looks something like this. With his long tail. And you can see that little hump there quite clearly. It's not really a hump, it's just shorter feathers. And so he kind of that's the way that he gets to display and advertise his strength and all that he can deal with that the others can't. He says, well, I'm a small bird, but I can handle this, and I can handle the weight of it, and the fact that more predators would be attracted to it, and that's what makes him attractive to females. Interesting and beautiful, really is. Anyway, let us drive around quarantine a bit and see what we can find. The rain has eased up, so I'm quite thankful for that, because you have no idea how hard it is to put that roof on. We are also getting quite sunny now, but instead you can go to where it's already sunny with Isaac in the Mara.
Yep, I'm still here with my hyenas, and they did get active and then went quiet. Well, this is a very social predator, and they do hunt for themselves in a pack. Over here, the best time to see them hunting, usually it's morning and evenings, and actually during migration. I haven't been able to catch this clan, going hunting in this long grass, which would be very, very interesting, and I don't know exactly what they are going for. So, I'm still, yet to find that. Yeah, that is another view that we have from here, from hyena headquarters. Yeah, and yeah, you can hear the hyenas calling there, and the elephant is not happy about that sound, so he's stopped to listen. Yeah, and then behind the elephant is the tall one, but we're gonna come back to the hyenas. They're all here. Yeah. That barrow is where the little ones have been staying. We haven't, gotten closer than where we are in all the days that we've been here. And in those two bushes, there's quite a good number of hyenas behind there. And shortly I'll be driving there to see, if they will allow me to go maybe close without disturbing them. But this is one huge clan, and for them to feed all this, they need at least maybe three wildebeest or 4. But in this case, I think right now they're fully dependent on warthogs. Look at that. He's really trying to get a really comfortable position to drink. He's almost as big as the mom from this perspective. But actually, that's a very young mother, I would say. She's a young mom. Hyenas are very loving to their young ones, and very, caretaking. Yes, and, looks like they've gone sleepy there. Okay, let me drive around, and while I do that, let me take you back down, to Duma and see what they're up to.
I'm with the animal that a hyena might be interested to eat. These are the impalas. Why I stopped here is because if you can see the fur, the color of the fur, it changed because we had a little bit of rain, but it stopped now. And then the fur erected, as you can see, and it got darker than the normal color we normally see every day when it's hot. So this is a breeding head, because you can see there's a male, the female, the young males, the old males, the young I can't tell the young one, I'm sorry about that. I nearly made a mistake. So we have this young chap over here who has survived since birth. He's the luckiest one because we have a lot of predators around here. And you can see the two males on on the other side there. They're trying to protect this herd. Sean, what a nice question there. Yes, will the rain bring out the predators to hunt? Yes, for sure. In most cases, predators like cats, leopards, lions, they love hunting when it's raining or at night, because that's where their prey is vulnerable. Because as you can see here, if it can start raining again, the impalas will move to a shady spot where they will prevent themselves from getting wet. So at that stage they will be vulnerable. So the predators will sneak easily and catch one or two of these impalas. That's why in most cases the predators get to be active during the day, because normally when it's hot during the day they don't get to be active. They sleep almost all day. So when the weather changes, like rain, wind, or the clouds, then that's when they get a chance or an opportunity to be active, unless they are extra full. So sometimes when they are extra full, they will only lie down and they will wait for an opportunity to avail itself. So at last the sun has pierced through the clouds. So let me move forward and leave these impalas. Leaving these impalas and with peace so that they can feed. Yes, Melissa, what a nice question. Will the snakes come out after this rain? Yes, probably they will come out because now it's getting warmer. It's not raining anymore, so snakes will definitely come out to heat their body up. You know, they rely to this sunlight to heat their body, or to keep their body warm. So, and hunting, obviously, they will be hunting during this kind of a day. So I'll talk about snakes. I would love to see an African rock python. I haven't seen it in a while, since 2016. I haven't seen an African rock python, but I would love to see one. Sydney was lucky this few months ago. He had a sighting of a black mamba. So hopefully I will see a snake, or a snake will look for me, and then I will give it to you. We haven't found any track of a cat, but we won't lose hope. No squirrels are shouting, no birds are shouting. It means this place doesn't have any cats. So while I'm trying my luck, let's go to an active hyena den with Isaac.
I have gone around quite a distance, all the way around, and have come across this female who is in a perfect spot. A little hollow, not too deep, enough to break away the wind, and she's busy nursing her little ones. Looks like she was out on a night shift, and they're very excited to have that warm, lovely, milk this time of morning. Over here, with a bit of wind in these plains, it got to get chilly. And I think these guys were quite cold because they are glued to their mama's, tits, as you can tell here. I'm sure, I don't know how it tastes, but it looks like it is very tasty. They just glued to it. They have been there for the last almost 6 minutes. TC, you ask me if hyenas are found in all of Africa. Yes, they were once found from sub-Saharan Africa all the way to, South Africa, East Africa to South Africa. Now they are restricted to small pockets of North Africa, Central Africa, East Africa, and predominantly, East and Southern Africa is where you find them. But they were widespread throughout Africa maybe a century ago, but now, they are restricted to certain areas. Here in the Mara, I would say it's one of their main remaining domain where you can find them in huge numbers in the Conservancy, and this is where we give you this live coverage. We do know of about 5 clans that are very active. They have more than about 20 members, and they are doing very well, and this is one of them. This is the Olololo clan. They are more than plus minus 40 strong, and around 20 little cubs of different ages. So this Masai Mara is the last remaining, one of the, I would say the main stronghold, together with the Serengeti, and then Southern Africa, there are quite a few places. So actually they're still here, but they were once very widespread. I hope I answered you. There is a few that are behind us, and I don't know what they're doing. I can only hear their calls. Chris, you asked me if hyenas are found in cities in Kenya and South Africa. No. I don't think they would go very well with humans. And I don't think, humans will do very well with hyenas. They don't occur in cities in Kenya or in South Africa. But anywhere where there's a forest, if it's outskirts of the city, they will appear. I come from a place not very far from here. We have a few villages, and there is no forest close by. The nearest forest is almost a kilometer away from my home. But sometimes in the year when people are farming maize, they will hide in the maize and come close to humans. So in the cities, I'm sure if there's a small forest, they would appear. But in the main city streets, no, they will never appear. Okay, these guys are saying hello. Let me take you to Oli with Akudu in Kruger.
Immediately I left the impalas, I saw the kudus. These are the beautiful antelopes I can find this morning. I found this morning. So what's happening here is this: these guys are grazing, and if you can look at their cheek, David, can you please? We have they have spots in the cheeks, so these spots are different. So I've noticed that we have a lot of kudus here, and these spots are different. So that's how you can differentiate them if you are this person who are interested in kudus. This is the young male, and unfortunately this is the end of the show. So we will see you right this afternoon thank you for your questions or comments, and thank you for watching, and thank you for all the people who are involved in this show. We'll probably see you in the Sunset Safari, and goodbye.